This is the Handlin podcast. I'm your host, Tony, with my co-host, Aiden. And today, we have a special guest. An up-and-coming rapper, King fucking Konye. He's going to rap for you guys today. Introduce yourself, King Konye.
I'm King Konye. I'm really excited to rap for y'all, but most important, I'm very honored to be on y'all show. This is awesome, bro. We handling it. We handling business.
You're right.
Here,
We
bro.
handling it.
So shout out the 518 where I'm from, Albany area. Shout out the 607 because we connecting people. That's what we do.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'm gonna spit something for y'all.
That shit ain't no average.
Yeah. I've gotta be real. I'm trying to catch up. I've been hustling backwards. Made a whole lot of bad moves in the last month. Now I'm stuck in the things that don't matter. I just look, and I just battled. You know I'm a rapper. It don't matter, and I still just here moving faster. Why do you listen to things that I say? You know my heart's full of bad stuff. If I see you act out, I just have to act up. You know I ain't with the cap stuff. You know the shorty you catfish, so I just care that I'm rapping, and I just sit back and I'm relaxing, and you know I'm just making hits all in the studio. I'm relapsing, and you know I bring facts in, and you know I got passion, so the fire just blasting, and I'm capping. No, I'm not capping, but I feel like the captain. I'm the leader of everything. I'm really walking to. Yeah, I'm just in a room. I'm here, real as interview, and I'm just happy that I'm sitting with them dudes that's 1 and 2 heroes with me. Ay, look. This is our story. If we speak so much truth, you know that no one can ignore it. And you know my bro got blue one, and it shows importance. And you know we got it like it's a brand new whip imported foreign whip I'm driving. And you know them people out there snoring. I don't care that they sleep on me. You know I'ma do this easily. Yeah, happy for the people that got my back and believe in me. Yeah, I do what I need to do where I'm who I need to be. Yeah, and that is a path that you could follow. I got pain and I got pride that's in my heart, but I'ma swallow. You know my heart's really hollow, but I never gonna let it go. This is not Disney movies, all about the coldest snow. You know I feel these emotions in an overload. Ay, I felt both of those smiles, I felt both of those. Don't know where this goes. I just had to roll like a boat, and I speak the truth, you know I'll lose control. And you know we play eeny, meeny, miny, mo to find these beats, and we just go so we don't have to cut the roll. And I just had to go and flow, you know I had no control, but I'm just staying in my lane. I got flames, I don't care, I'm pushing through this pain. I swear I see the rain, and I'm happy where it came from, and it rains on me every day, yeah. Look, I just had to find a focus, and I find a pocket. Now you can see I'm popping, I take off like rockets, and you know I'm in here like a socket. I don't really care, no, I ain't flopping when I'm dropping songs and really out here rocking. And I just feel like a rock star, taking off like a flashing lights on my chains, and I look like a cop car. I'm speaking real and I'm not hard, but I had to be honest too. These emotions that I'm feeling, King Konye be feeling real things, and you know that's what he's speaking. And I really freestyle like these rappers don't believe it, and you really won't believe it till that moment that they see it. Y'all the seed and that you planted it, it's in the ground, and then you ain't but abandon it. You just kept watering, now we seeing what it becomes. Look, we just get started. I think I'm done. Look at the weather we want. I spread the verse with buns. Had to rerun it, I had to rerun it, but look I'm coming and look I'm cutting. I'm speaking the real and I'm fronting. Yeah, and I'm balling. But y'all my shorty's budget, so I had to pass the cash, and we ain't kick it to the bucket. And you know we like that KFC, them chicken in a bucket. When I had to whip it up a kitchen, this ain't really luck, this is real. I swear you know how I feel. Ay, I swear Aiden on this beat, and I know he know the deal. Like he signed it, like he had to go sign it. Like a song you can't rewind it. All of these lights got me blinded. Yeah, look, I need the flow, I might find it. I swear I'm finding my timing. I shine like a diamond, like I'm Rihanna. I got the name of my father, and I'm making me hustle harder. I flow like water, so I had to put it in a faucet when I'm locked in. I had to flow for a second, I lost it, but I had to stay on time like that wasp is. I get washed quick, I'm not washed up. Whoa. Thank you guys for letting me do that. I love freestyling, bro. I appreciate it.
God damn, that was amazing.
I appreciate y'all.
That was awesome. That was like a whole song right there that you just freestyled. Like that was nuts.
I'm honored to be in your presence right now.
I'm very happy. Like that's crazy, bro.
Man, freestyle is live creativity, and I feel like it's real conversation because we're creative even when we're having conversation. Like, actually, our minds are pulling from a certain place of inspiration. Live freestyle, is really just being able to find the place. So you'll find sometimes people will say, oh, I'm able to freestyle really well. Maybe if I'm on this, or, if I'm in a certain vibe with my friends, it's really just finding literally like on a psychological state, a relaxation state to where your brain is like in a state of that alpha and theta waves to where it's relaxed enough for creativity to just flow through you. So anybody can actually freestyle. Like it's just what we do.
That was amazing though. Like I definitely can't just, do that.
I
That
can't
was
pull up
crazy.
that sick ass beat and start throwing some
Yeah,
rhymes
but-
like you did. That.
By the way, great beat. Before this, like how many times did you say you listened to that? Like that beat, how many times have you heard that?
That's a good question. More times than I like to admit. No. So, for real, I picked the beat, I think 3 days ago.
Really?
was like,
And
yeah.
you were that time, because the timing you had was impeccable on that.
Oh, thank you for saying that, man. Well, here's the thing, bro. I like to create as a listener. So literally when I'm freestyling or when I'm actually recording my songs, I'm hearing it. Like they
Yeah.
always say all the greatest musicians are the best listeners. So it's like the same way a musician listens to the drummer listens to the guitarist so that they can kind of be coordinated when they do their changes and builds ups.
Yeah.
I'm listening to the beat. I'm like, ooh, right here I can tell like the drum and kick patterns kind of like that. I'm just dancing and physically dancing with my body just get me kind of locked into the level where lyrically I can match
Yeah.
that same bounce. So,
You were really flowing, like also physically, yeah. And I was like, wow, this is super awesome. This is very intense. It was sweet. It was great. Honestly, I was super impressed. I was really coming in thinking like you'd have a good, minute of freestyle maybe, but you really did that whole thing, no problem. I'm like, holy shit, that was impressive.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate it. I be having fun, man.
Yeah. But that's something you like to incorporate like at your shows, like you do like a little bit of freestyle?
Yes. So all my fans who have been at a King Konye show know this. Every single show, there's a moment of freestyle because I believe that creativity creates this moment where it's not one man on stage telling you something. No, that's an important moment in the conversation where everyone's a part of it. So we're all hearing about the things that we're thinking about. We're all following the same line of thought. So I actually asked my fans, I asked the audience, give me a word. And I invite people up from the audience, by the way. Sometimes there's rappers in the crowd. They pull up, they'll grab the mic with me. And it's an important moment to be like, all right, so where are we starting, guys? And then someone just gives us something. And then we take off running. And I'm starting to extend the freestyle period of the shows because it tends to be a highlight moment
Yeah.
in some of the shows because people are like, whoa, like it wakes you up. It's like, oh, this is actually happening. This isn't some rehearsed thought, like a presentation that's been shared.
Yeah.
Nah, someone's speaking to me. And I think that's important. The human connection is everything.
Damn. That would be crazy.
So at your shows, you're trying to create like a vibe with everybody, like they're on the stage with you.
Yes.
And being able to do things like that. That's pretty cool. That's like, interaction with the audience is really something that like brings a crowd, back.
It really does. So here's something that I recognize as a performer. It could actually kill the show in the worst way if an artist is so coordinated to where everything's just down to the T. What happens is we all have this sixth sense for authenticity. This is why, like, if you see, like, your favorite artist live, in between the songs, when they start talking to you, it's like they break the fourth wall. It's like this character that you've seen on this screen for the longest time is actually not only alive, but they're connecting with you. And those moments of connection happen when everyone's sharing an experience. The same way that you grow closer to a friend when you guys hang out with each other, when y'all share an experience with one another. So I literally try to give us all on stage like an experience for us to share. And sometimes like I'll actually, invite people up on the stage to rap. At my last show that I did actually at New World Park in Oneonta, at the end I said, hey, I got one more song left. And it was the song that I knew that people were going to know from me.
Yeah.
It's the main Konye song. It's called Planted. And I said, if anyone wants to get on stage with me, and then like there's a couple of, young kids in the crowd. And they were all
I
excited.
saw that. I
They
saw some
got up
clips of
real-
that on your Instagram.
And I was like, I was just like, I know y'all rushing, but I was like, first off, don't trip. I'm like, last thing we need is, we don't want nobody to get hurt, but like,
Yeah.
it's just a fun little moment. So I was like, all right, so that's how you can be part of the show. So, and this is my advice to any artist for whatever it may mean to them coming from me. I'd say, not for you, but for the audience, give them a moment where it's not something fully rehearsed. Give them a moment where everyone's just being. Give a beat to sit there, even if you don't say anything to the audience for a second. Sit there and acknowledge them. Look at them and be like, hey, you guys are here, and I am too. Thank you. That'll go a long way.
That's awesome. Is that something you think you'll like continue to do, like the bigger and bigger you get?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I actually want to be known for being the one who is willing to take this mask off that we put on for the world. So eventually, I actually want to be at the point where like it's such an expectation that when you think of King Konye, you think of freestyle. I initially actually started freestyling at live shows because it occurred to me when I had a conversation with someone. I said, people become less nervous when they see someone else mess up, which sounds silly, but that's actually the truth. And I realized, I was like, there's something valuable about remembering, hey, this is just a human being being a human being. So I found that if I do a freestyle, that's my way of like kind of being like at the service point of the room, like almost like at the lowest level, like, hey, I may say something stupid. You guys are going to see me mess up, but I want to be the one to mess up in front of everybody so everyone knows, hey, nobody's perfect. And any mess ups that everyone does from here, hey, it doesn't even matter because the dude that we're looking at, look at him. He could be tripping up on himself. Ironically enough, though, made me a little bit better at freestyling. So then I started messing up a little bit less on stage, but still the moment is still,
Did you ever have one where you did a freestyle and you really botched it, like you really messed it up, and you're like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have done that at all?
So I have not had that happen. Well, actually, I did. Oh my gosh. Oh this is crazy.
We unlocked a core memory.
You did unlock a core memory. Actually, so sometimes I'm just gonna be so raw with y'all. Sometimes I'm a little dramatic. Sometimes so on a live radio station, right? It was Town Square Media.
Yep.
So it was 8 different radio stations being projected to. And then he didn't tell me he was gonna have me rap, but he asked me to freestyle. And you know how I lock in with the beat? There was no beat. It was a cappella. So I'm just giving people words. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I said, well, give me a word to start out with. And then he gave me a word. I'm not gonna lie, bro. It was so trash. It was so buns. So it was so bad. So
Buns,
I ended it, bro. I ended it, and then I got off. And I told some of the people on my team this too. And I told my girl this. I said, I'm never freestyling again. I was like, that was probably the moment to probably prepare and just write it. But then, even a couple days passed, and I was like, is it really even that deep? Like I messed up. Like people still hit me up in my DMs or on Facebook.
Yeah.
They said, hey, it was early in the morning and I woke up early and I listened to the show and I was so happy. And I'm like, if anyone in this world had enjoyment listening, because it was so early, I almost didn't wake up for it. I was like, if anyone had enjoyment, then why am I sitting here saying, oh, I messed up because I didn't give you this packaged thing? Like, bro, they don't care about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, they're probably not expecting something like that, And you're right. Like the most human thing is to be flawed. Like that's the most. That's our culture. That's how we act. We make mistakes. We're all people.
So I have a theory that's why behind the scenes has gotten really popular since social media has gotten, really big. What happened is everyone now is seeing all these perfect picture moments of human beings to the point where we're starting to like on a cultural level, we're starting to crave the little intimate moments more. So when we do see our favorite artist behind the scenes, like setting up this show, we're like, oh, well, maybe they have something prepared for me, but that is just them. And that's getting more important in culture. I think like in a few years' time, you're going to see like raw videos of like almost like Ed Sheeran's Photograph music video. Where it was just just photos of like, him as a kid or something like that.
His life. Yeah.
I think stuff like that is just going to get increasingly more popular because everyone's like, you can only get to the point where things are so crystal clear and prepared to the point where you're like, it almost doesn't matter. Now, obviously, presentation always matters. Like,
yeah,
it does,
of course.
But it's just like, all that is building on the foundation of the core human being,
Yeah. And you've done that. You've done some behind the scenes, uploaded some videos of that, and I've seen that. Like, I haven't watched the full length, the most recent one, but I think you had one for the pool party. You had a couple of them that I thought were really interesting.
First off, yes. Now, that was a dope behind the scenes to have because that was Hardwick College. That was my last year at Hardwick before I graduated. I had a song that I would perform usually when I was performing around campus, and it made me hype. I was referencing water and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, let's have a pool party. And I'm the type of dude where I'm very careful when I make a declaration like to people. Like if I say something to myself, it's whatever. But if I say something to someone, I'm gonna do it. Yeah. So I was like, I actually made the plan in the studio with Mr. Love Lagoon, and I was like, all right, bro. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hit up these people. I'm gonna talk to them about using the pool, and then that's when we set it up to get the food and everything. And so being on a rapper on a college campus, some people would see more of me online on the internet or what the college would repost more than they would see like me in person. So it's like, you become this character to them. So I'll just speak this in the realest way. So I sometimes would, I'd hear people speak about me like right in front of me or right next to me. in the same way that someone would talk about this character that they don't know anything about. So I get to hear unfiltered opinions. So I was getting worried right before the pool party started because, there was like this dude, he was trying to impress some girl. I'm sitting, I got my do-rag on and my hood on. I'm cozy. It's like a Saturday morning or something. And he's telling this girl, he says, oh yeah, you hear about the pool party music video? She was like, yeah, I heard about that. Said, me and my friends back, he said, oh yeah, I was like, oh, what, a music video. And he was like kind of trying to mock the thing. And then he warmed up to it when she was hyped about it. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I end up walking back to my dorm. And moments later, someone was telling their friend, they're like, yo, you see that, bro? And they were trying to mock the idea.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, so what's going to happen? But anyway, people showed mad support. It was really dope. The Hartwick social media manager, videographer, Bob Murdoch, who is amazing. He's the one who shot the video, and he was with me in the planning, and just, it became a good moment for everyone. It just, on set, it was just fun. We had little diving contests.
That's awesome. Honestly, I don't understand how anyone would not think that was cool though. Like, no matter what, if you're seeing something like that, or you see someone chasing after a music video or anything at all, like just to know all the planning that went into that and everything, you got to know this guy's putting in the work, and that's sick.
Yeah.
The craziest thing is, we tend to appreciate things differently if it's someone that we just kind of know, but they're like among us, they're one of us, then subconsciously we start to compare ourselves. It's important that everyone catches this because we all have moments where we will compare ourselves. And for situations like that on the campus, I was just one of them. And people were making these comments right after the college posted these things. And, you're seeing the college that you go to post this one person over and over again. And then, they see the social media and there's a little bit of hype there and people, it's sometimes there's a little bit of bitterness there.
Yeah.
And
a little jealousy maybe.
And that's the thing. Yeah. I hate using the word, but
I could tell you're kind of dancing around it. In my head, I'm thinking, sounds like they were just really jealous. They didn't get to have a pool party.
Yeah. People be hating sometimes.
I'm jealous.
Oh, dude.
I wish I went to the pool party.
You're ready, bro. That shirt would have fit, bro.
That would have been perfect.
Vacation time, man.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people do hate on stuff like that in any type of creativity, really. Like when we were starting up this podcast, some people are really supportive and cool and they think it's awesome. And then other people are like, you guys have a podcast. Like, who do you think you are? Where do you think you're going here?
The sad truth, at least to my knowledge, is that some people have a hard time seeing a vision because maybe they haven't visualized something for themselves, so they don't know what the starting process looks like.
Yeah.
Because when we're kids, we're always stepping into things that everyone else has created. And then we get to a point in life where, we're building this foundation and we have to create something. Some people are a little bit early on that, and some people are, they just naturally are just like that. And they're like, hey, I want to do something myself. And so many people don't get it. Even people who may kind of get it start building doubts based on their own insecurities. So it's they always say people hate, don't listen to them. And of course we want to try to filter, well, what is hate versus, well, what can I take from this, build. But at the end of the day, the truth is, if you're the one who sees the vision, no one sees it because literally it doesn't exist yet, but it will exist because you're the one who's creating it. So you hold on to it. Literally everyone will see that vision someday. That's why when I was here, I said to y'all, I was like, I know the world doesn't know this just yet, but I said to you guys, I'm really sitting in the future of the seed that you had. The seed grew.
And that was
Holy
awesome.
shit. King Konye, you're not just a rapper, but you're a preacher too. And
Honestly, you are very, man.
I appreciate that, bro. I think the two are very similar.
I was going to say that, yeah.
When you look at people like DMX and Tupac, where it's
shit, yeah.
Man, what happens is words are powerful. So if someone's going to, let's say rap on stage, especially when a lot of people start to listen to them, they start to craft themselves into thinking, what, I got to use words intentionally. There was actually this moment, right, in 2018 where, I was a younger dude and people had just within that last year and a half, people started riding for me and my brother, our music. And we were getting really lit about it. I was a young 19-year-old man and I was actually at Olive Garden. And this young girl, or I guess, this young girl's grandmother, I guess it was, she calls me over. She says, hey, our family listens to your music. And this girl's, she really young. And instantly, I was embarrassed actually for a second because I knew all the things that I was saying.
Yeah, shit, yeah.
And she said, yeah, we listen to your music. Could we have a moment to get a picture with you? And then we took the picture and then they said, yeah, so, what is the process like with you doing all these things? And I'll never be able to forget the discomfort of thinking the thoughts that I was sharing, this young person is hearing them. And when we're listening to music, we are internalizing certain things. So actually from that moment, that's when I started like cleaning up what I say in my music. Not all my songs are completely clean, but for the most part, if you hear my songs or you hear my performances, I don't curse on stage.
Yeah.
Which is also hard for freestyling, but I still don't curse on stage.
Yeah.
So I do that not as a way to, filter out what I have to say, but I'm like, there's responsibility to this.
Yeah.
So when I come on, podcasts or radio interviews, I'm, I don't try to share things recklessly. I do try to share with people, like, just my heart, but things I really, what's the word, contemplate on, things I think about. So thank you for saying that, though.
Yeah, no problem.
I was not a good speaker when I was a kid. I was very quiet. So anyone in high school that sees what I do now, I know it's so weird. Probably never heard me.
I saw you say that in another interview that you were actually really shy and like when you're on stage you're nervous, and I'm like, really? Because you look like you're killing it up there like every time.
Man, yeah. So that's funny. Yes, nerves actually I find so every emotion tends to have like its opposite emotion. For instance, like I always say, the opposite of love isn't hate. The opposite of love is indifference. So because hate is really a deep passion similar to love, but mixed with resentment. In the same way, anxiety a lot of the time is very similar to excitement. Now, anxiety is still, you're getting a little bit itchy and your heart's racing. That I realized, like that nervousness, if you're not on stage with that, it actually makes the show flat. What like my nervousness does, because I'm a pretty anxious person, to be honest.
Yeah.
But what my nervousness does is when I get up there, I have no choice but to like just fully give everything that I have.
Project.
Because it's like, at that moment, I'm like, well, there's people watching me, what I'm saying, and especially now at the level where there's expectations when I'm booked. There's people, they see me online or they've seen me perform before. There's like, they're expecting me to be some type of way, and I just get all eaten alive by it. But I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm just up here. My main reason is I'm trying to give everyone a good time. So if I'm anxious, I'm like, well, sure, I should be anxious because at this time, this ain't even about me. I'm nervous because I recognize there's importance. So yeah, I am a very shy person, but it manifests itself into my life as being, it makes me like bigger, it makes me greater and stronger.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So I guess my question would be, what was a turning point for you? When did you realize like I kind of made it? Like obviously you've come so far from, because obviously you started ground zero, you know, and you've come very far. Like you've had these interviews with Towns Career Media. Like you've done a lot of stuff. You've been in the foothills. You've been at Neowa.
You shot a
movie. You're literally an actor. That's you have a lot going on. The mayor of Oneonta has shouted you out. Like I saw that as well.
That's a beautiful question. So, because like, the idea of making it means so many millions of different things, but there is a point where I have this brand deal with Track 23 that, involves a lot of things. Like, first of all, shout out Track 23. That's all the clothes I'm wearing.
Let's go.
So, there was this week where I had picked the day that I was going to drop the song Awkward, the music video for Awkward. And I said, you know what? September 5th is the day. And then the next day, that's when I get the email to get booked for the show at the fall festival, and I was like excited, telling my girl, I picked the right day. And then all of a sudden, like the next day, I get a text from Track 23, the regional manager at that certain store. He said, hey, we booked the photographer for the next day that you said you're coming in to pick up clothes. We're going to do a shoot so we can get our store banners set up, and the banners show up like around the country, not just the Crossgates Mall, Track 23. So I was looking at my girl, and I was, in and out of phone calls and like trying to manage these things in a journal, figuring out how am I going to play these cards. And I was like, when did this happen to where there was like motion? And there was like, I distinctly remember I was a senior in high school when I started rapping because I was still quiet. Obviously all my friends laughed at me and they said, yo, first of all, your voice is high. You're not going to be a rapper. They said, second of all, bro.
They just were like, nah, bro. Cut it out
now.
They said, let me hear you rap then. And I tried to rap in front of them. I stuttered so much. I messed up so much. It was so bad. Yeah. And I remember thinking, well, this probably isn't possible. And then I started getting like it was my brother's album that I was on really, but it started getting a lot of motion, and I started trying to be someone that I felt like the world needed me to be. And like I started to dislike music in like 2018, early 2019. It became like this chore for me, and I was like, oh, but if I want to do it, I have to do it this type of way. But then I just started saying, you know what? All these like being myself in the way that people say it's not going to work out. let me just start doing that. I'm a dude who just be getting excited. I'm pretty enthusiastic. It's not what you expect from a rapper, but I'm like, that's just how I am. And I just want to just do what I like to do. And I was like, this probably will never, pick up. People probably won't be able to even relate to this. But 2 years, like within the next 2 years of after dropping like an album, which didn't even go crazy, but I dropped like an album called People Change, where I was like accepting this new nature in myself. That's when, for whatever reason, I started getting booked for more things. And then I started doing a little bit more travel shows where we traveled to Atlanta. And I was like, oh, that was really dope. We traveled to Vermont and we traveled to Los Angeles. And when I got back from Los Angeles, because I had this really nice time, I said, oh my gosh, like, I'm starting to feel like there's something here that I want to build up. I don't know if that fully answered the question because there was never a moment. Cause it's just like,
yeah, that was good. That was perfect. Like that's kind of what I was wondering about. Just like the come up, because it comes in stages, right? Like you're just slowly. I mean, we are still like here, but we're on our ascent, and you've really managed to go really far. And I see you just continuously skyrocketing the trajectory, the way that you are and the way you're on top of it. You're also a very busy guy. Like you're on top of it. I just saw your, like, I didn't watch the whole stream, but on Monday you had that Twitch stream and I like see you posted on Instagram. I'm like, this guy's crazy. He's got Monday, he's doing this, and now he's coming with us. Yeah,
Music Monday.
And I was like, okay, that's this guy's staying active, man.
So, well, that's funny. Yeah, I appreciate you for noticing what it looks like behind the scenes. Like, bro, so I got a dog, and like I got a dog. My girl be seeing it. I be trying to take care of things, like even at just our crib, right? And every time I always have the next thing going on in my mind. And then when someone reaches out, like, hey, can we have you for this? Or sometimes people book me at events to speak. Yeah. I'm like, yes, absolutely. And I personally am just someone who has a lot to share from my heart. Like so I have a hard time saying no to opportunities to either perform or to do something, to share something, because I'm like, ooh, I finally get to share these thoughts that I have with the world. I'll just be hyped. That's awesome. Like this fuel to where I'm like constantly organizing in a journal. Like I physically have a journal where I organize, okay, if I have this show on this day and I have this release, this release, I'm like, how do I align these things together so that for my audience, this experience, they get to walk through it with me? Because social media is like, the audience sees social media more than they're just seeing the videos nowadays. That's that's like the nature of modern entertainment. Mm-hmm. So I realized the show is not just on stage. The show is the progression of the career of this person. And I recognize that too, because my younger brother, who actually started getting motion way before I did, I got to see the show from the third party, and I was like, oh, this is exciting, because you're seeing someone be themselves and they're actively like pushing forward, and it makes you think, where do you want this to go? So I said, even the failures, moments that aren't the best, or shows where no one was there, I posted them, bro. And I've posted shots where you've seen, like this was like years ago, pre-COVID. I posted shots where you see, and there was 2 people in the audience, but I put on a good show for them 2 people in the audience.
I mean, we get that. We understand that, because we do this every week, no matter what. Like rain, whatever. We have a guest, we don't have a guest. We do it every single week, and we put out the episode, and we give it our absolute all. And sometimes it just tanks. And there'll be times when we're talking, we're like, wow, that was a great episode. After the episode, it drops. It just flopped, and we're like, wow, like what the heck, man? And it gets. Have you ever dealt with any like discouragement? Like something happened, and you're like, maybe I should just call it, like, or just like I need to change something. Something's not right here. Like how have you dealt with that?
So that's funny, because there's a powerful moment of discouragement when we did the show in Vermont. Mm-hmm. Now that show the pictures ended up being really good, because we put on a good show, and they actually got put in like this little magazine thing. I don't need to get into all that right now, but at that moment, I remember being discouraged in the hotel. When it wasn't just me, it was me and Love Lagoon, and we were opening for a dude who won an Emmy. I was like, oh, I hope it was going to be this big show, and the people who booked us, already knew who we were. I wanted to be able to surprise them. Of course, I didn't have the craziest amount of fans in Vermont, but with that little amount of people, I was thinking, is this just one man just doing something, and maybe people believe in it, but no one's receiving it? And I asked myself that. And I've asked myself that prior times, but that moment, I was like, let me actually evaluate this. I was like, what am I actually doing? But I went up there, I got on the stage, I had a good time, because at that point, I mean, you have no choice but to have a good time. If you're not having a good time, then you got nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you got no one. Like, what are you doing? So I chose to have a good time, and it was actually a wake-up call for me, because After we had the photos that did show, it almost made it look like it could have been a sold out place by how alive, we still were on stage. And when that, I freestyled on stage at that time, it was a good moment. And when the picture was used by my distributor, Identity Music, for like this little magazine that they made that was like a description of what they do, I just looked at it and I was like, that was a moment where I was so low. And that doesn't even matter to anyone because that's not the part that's important. That's when I started realizing it's the purpose of things that matters. There could be a really good song where we love it, and that song could have 10 views. That doesn't change the fact that we put our friends onto that song if it's really good. And like it's a mind shift thing, because there's like a popular belief that, if something's good, then it has motion.
Yeah.
No, if something's good, then eventually it creates motion. It
That's so true. Because that happens all the time. Like, if you see something, whether it be a song or a movie, anything like that, and you're like, maybe it's not very popular, but you like it, like, you're going to go tell your boy. You're going to go tell your fucking mom. You're going to tell people that, because no matter what, even if everyone else hates it, even if you're the only person you've talked to that's liked it, you're like, all right, I'm telling people about this, though, because this is awesome, and I really like it.
I have a question for you guys, because I want you to just talk to the world. Talk about the consistency that was required. Like, what character did it take to do this consistently? Either, well, you say weekly or monthly basis?
We do weekly. So 4 a month.
So tell us, what does that look like?
I mean, we're constantly trying to figure out a guest all the time. We did the first 10 just by ourselves, right?
Yeah,
we did
the first 10 episodes we did by ourselves.
Yeah, and that alone is like you're trying to think of things to talk about. But this isn't we work full-time jobs and we go out and we box 3 times a week in Albany. We're busy guys ourselves, so we're like trying to do all this stuff, but always thinking about this, always thinking about the podcast because this is our passion. This is what we're trying to do. Yeah. It's really hard though to just continuously come up when we're doing it every week, to come up with something new. And we really are strict in trying not to repeat ourselves because, it's easy to do when you record every single week, and trying to get a guest is hard enough. We ask friends, family. And then when I reached out to you, I was just going through like, I shit you not, I reached out to probably 10 people that day. And like, you were the only one that said yes. And I only got 3 responses. So I was like, awesome, this is great. But it's hard. And that's another thing where it can get discouraging. Like, you reach out to people after people after people, and you either get no response or a no or whatever, and you're just like, man, like, but you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt and be like, we're on the come up. I understand this. Eventually they'll be like, man, I wish I hopped in when they were smaller.
There's a lot of points too, like where we're like sitting there and we're like, shit, what are we gonna do for this episode? And we both always look at each other and we go, you know what? We're gonna handle it.
That's something we say. And
handling our podcast, and I honestly I feel like every time we do that though, there's always some sort of chemistry that flings out of nowhere. There's always something that and it's almost like we're freestyling
a conversation.
And you were right about that whole freestyle. Everyone can freestyle kind of thing.
Right.
And we were shitting on that earlier, but we weren't.
But that's a motto we have for life as well. Like, if you have any type of issue, the only thing you can do is just handle it. Like, that's what you have to do. We used to have this thing where if anything bad would happen to us, we'd be like, oh, that's part of the origin story. We just would completely take it out of our mind as like, hey, that's part of the origin story, man. It had to happen so that we can get up here. So,
Bro, well, it's crazy because the reason why I even was wondering, I was like, okay, because what does this consistency look like for you guys is because, like the character that it draws out of you, I actually, even just as a guest, like here, speaking to you, I can tell you guys are genuinely, you're genuinely like speaking from I say with creativity, you pull from the place of inspiration. You're pulling from a real place of inspiration. Your people have something to say. And what happens is, anyone who doesn't have a reason to do what they're doing gets weaved out quickly in the beginning stages. It actually, like, they say millions of people are doing that. Yeah, well, 500,000 of them stopped yesterday. That's true.
That's perfect.
So there's like literally been times where some of the best shows have been in these small rooms, these small intimate rooms where there's just a few human beings, because everyone who's just there, like, is actually genuinely there. And the people, obviously, who are going to go and be on the show are the people who recognize what it's actually like to put something on, people who recognize what it's like to build something. It's like you're actually getting like great minds with you. And if someone's mind maybe isn't, if that's not where their head is at, then then it's almost like they're blind to what you're creating. Some people can see that trajectory. And that's where I was like, ooh, I saw that. Even the way y'all hit me up, I was like, oh, that was professional. That was solid.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah, no problem.
I really were, and I came and told these guys, and I was like, I'm telling you, it's because of my email. It was so professional. I'm telling you right now,
Bro, it was because you sent the link too of an example.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I was actually. It's funny. I was next to the dude actually who films my music videos. The dude who filmed like pretty much it was him and one other person filming the Popeye movie. Like I said these dudes talks about doing a podcast. Now, people in like, DM or like whatever will say, oh, we gotta have you on a podcast. Sometimes it's like that, and it won't be fully serious, or it'll be something. But as soon as I went and looked in, I was like, these dudes are putting, you had integrity with how you do it. So anyway, just so you know, I notice it and people notice that too. But for anyone listening, like, we feel unseen when we're getting started doing things. And that I don't care what nobody says. I can say all the most positive things about the importance of the one viewer, but to be honest, it can hurt. If it feels rough to be unseen, but we are being seen even when we don't realize it. That's a cool thing about social media. People are randomly scrolling through and they're like, oh, wow, I saw this. Maybe they don't even fully connect. Maybe they don't even leave a trace that they were there. But people saw that, and already the initial objective of putting it out there has been accomplished. It's just getting accomplished on greater levels, and people hold on to those things, and they put other people on. Yo, I heard this podcast and they said this funny thing, and all of a sudden Joe Rogan will be asking you, so what made you guys continue?
man, dude. Chills. Like that's end game right there. That's the goal. Like that would be crazy.
We personally, we would love to be on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Just be clear.
We'll call you out right now, Joe Rogan. But who would you love to be like in a collaboration with? As like a rapper, I'm sure you probably have inspiration, and your genre is melodic rap. I don't know if you even just came into that as like I want to be a melodic rapper. You're probably thinking I want to just be a rapper, but I'm sure you took inspiration from somebody.
I do actually. So my dream collabs, top 2 dream collabs, or I'm going to give top 3. Okay. One, my favorite artist in the world, Rod Wave. His music is soulful. I love it. This dude is like a homie sitting in a car with you on a late night just telling you, today was on, man.
That was a good impression. I'm not going to lie. That was good.
That's funny. But so Rod Wave, number 1. Number 2, I think my sound and style of rap and topics would fit Chance the Rapper very well. I think that would be awesome. And then number 3 is, do you know Hurricane Wisdom?
I can't say I do.
No.
He's a little bit newer, but he has taken the world by storm, dare I say. Recently.
Nice.
He's really good. I would love to collab with them. Obviously all of them are melodic, so I think it would go really well. But I also like that they're melodic rappers that speak like they're able to simplify how they feel very well to a level where even if you haven't been in their experiences, you understand that. And I think that's important for music. So anyway, that's why I would like to be with them, man. That would be awesome.
Who's your favorite like collab that you've already been with? Like, because you said earlier you've done a lot of music with your brother, which I'm assuming is
Mark
Konye. Yeah,
Mark
Konye.
Konye.
Yeah. And how does he feel about you being king?
Yeah, that's a question we've been talking about. We've been like, I wonder how, like, did they have to draw straws for that one? Like, he's the king, and that's just Mark. You know what I mean?
It's so funny because it's like, now I chose my rap. I literally I had my rap name first. I actually didn't even just choose it myself. Someone else chose it. But I had my rap name, and then he started rapping later. Now, we actually rapped, like, we started that together. We were just writing songs to, like, cheer up our mom, like, and just to play him in the car, whatever. We weren't going to show no one. But I started, like, releasing stuff, and I was already under King Konye. Now, at first, he was going to go by Lil Konye, because everyone was doing Lil at the time. And he was like, you know what? Let me not just have it King Konye and Lil Konye. He was like, and he's my little brother, too. He be sounding older than me. But he's my little brother. He was like, he ultimately didn't care. He was like, hey, we out here, and people knew us. We were Mark and King, and it was like, it was crazy, bro. Like, yeah.
That's what's up. And honestly, I really like that, like keeping it like with your family and your brother especially. Like, that's awesome. That's super awesome. We both have brothers, and we're like brothers because we're here all the time. And like we're day ones, like literally since we were like 5 years old. So
Bro,
it's nice to see that type of vibe just continuing, especially in a music setting.
Chosen brotherhood is important. Now, there's people who could be related,
But chosen brotherhood is the people who, as a young man, you guys actually, for whatever reason, click, and then you grow together because everyone changes. People say, oh, well, they're not the same anymore. No, that's not how it works. No human being stays the same. We change, and we should change. If we're not changing, that's a problem. But the people who can continue to care about each other, it means they actually care about the person, not just who the person is and how the person is at that exact time. So like even like with brothers, you could be born brothers and then you grow apart. My younger brother had been and has been like my best friend throughout our entire life. We go through every situation, together. And even though he lives in Buffalo, we're always on the phone. It feels like our lives are still synced up because we're always knowing, what's going on with one another. So when we brought that to the music, it actually, I think that helped people receive it also because they got to see a dynamic. They're like, whoa, that's like this thing that it's like this powerful, hopeful feeling, which ultimately is like love,
Yeah.
the album that everyone received immediately. It was called No Water Over Blood, which nothing over
Fire
family.
name. Fire name, by the way. That's great.
Well, it's nothing over family. Actually, I think it's because my brother was visiting me at my first year at college, and I wrote it on my face with a Sharpie because I wanted to give myself fake face tats. I was just so young and stupid.
That's great.
He saw the picture like 2 months later, and he said, "Yo," and then he put that together because at the time the album was just felt like it was me, him, and my mom, trying to get through different stages of life. So all the songs that he had written about it, he's like, hey, here, like there was a song called Golden Boy, fully about our mom. And then there was a song that we had that was like, the street number of our address where it was just about living in our house. And these are things where, like they don't have context really to anyone else, but people would comment about these songs and they started showing other like neighboring schools. We already went to a big school, there's 4,000 people.
Yeah.
But they started showing neighboring schools. They were like, hey, like my mom like sent me this text saying these boys grew up with you. Hey, this is your album. And like I listened to this song and I was just shocked. And that's also another moment where we realize it's not all about trying to relate to people. It's just being yourself. People relate to that because we're all trying to be ourselves.
Wow. Okay, so your brother's out in Buffalo, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not from Oneonta locally originally. So what made you decide to stay here after college?
I love that question. Now, I grew up in an area that looks kind of similar. It was Clifton Park, New York.
Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yep,
Yeah.
in Albany. Yep.
Yeah.
That was Clifton Park. And I came out to Oneonta for college. Now, I actually originally tried to go to music school, SUNY Potsdam for Crane School of Music. I actually am a trombone player. I hated that. I hated it. So, like, let it be known. No, now here's the thing, though. I'm not saying that music school is bad. It's great. But learning, just diving into technicalities, I didn't want that. So I said music is starting to kind of pick up in this local area. So let me just go to a school that's closer to home so that I don't have to, go 3.5 hours when we want to perform or when we want to shoot something. And I said I'm going to study business this time also. I said I'm not going to go in and study music. I'm going to personally study music, but I want to learn what is it that brings a message out there. That's what marketing is to me.
Yeah.
It's like figuring out, hey, like, yeah. So anyway, then I went to Hartwick College, and it was after in my last year of graduating Hartwick, in my last year when I was graduating Hartwick, I decided, I was like, this is an area that actually represents what I believe in as a person. And I actually made the decision when I had come back. It was probably a week after coming back from LA. I had actually, because it was always my dream to move to LA, right? And when I was down there, there's actually a video that I have of it. Like, we had the weekend doing the most fun things. We went to the beach and stuff. The people who actually we stayed with while we were down there were artists that we met on a online festival set. Her name is Katie Louise, shout out her. She actually had a song that just went viral, so we were all celebrating that. And her manager had a party bus company. So we rode up to the show in Hollywood in a party bus that with, they had drinks and everything on the bus. We had this great time. And I remember like getting back and I was like, yo, like I want my whole life to be like that. And then I had this revelation basically. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I don't want to just go and chase down what everyone's already done. I actually want to build something. And I want to build something with a foundation on certain things that I believe in. And, I'm someone who really stands by. I think love is like should be the foundation of everything. Love and good nature. I think good nature is important. I want to build this life off of integrity. If this is the way I saw it, I was like, if I moved to Los Angeles, not only would that be, incredibly hard, but I don't mind the hard thing. That's not, that's kind of in this career. But I said, if I go down there, I'm going to spend my entire career trying to craft myself into someone that fits what they have going on. I said, I'm going to stay in this place where, like, my homies were telling me, rightfully so, they were like, bro, if you stay in this small town, you're not going to be able to do anything, bro. And they said that. And at the time, I had not met Otsego Media. I
Yeah.
had not been, I would have never known. So anyway, but I made the decision contrary to, what looked like it made sense. And man, I have to say that was definitely one of my best decisions. I had no idea that I was going to get partnered with the company Otsego Media, where, now my life is full media. Like my day job with filming, now I'm filming my own stuff, and like I have a media team that's with me, with my shows. Shout out Dylan, who's like, doing the music videos. I had no idea I would be in a movie. I had no idea.
That was
Holy
sick, dude.
cow! We were like, "What? This guy's been
yeah,
on a movie."
we were like, "This is amazing."
It was in theaters too, by the way.
Yeah,
Around
yeah.
the
We
United
I
States.
watched the They basically had like a little. I don't want to say a documentary, but a blurb about it because it was an Oneonta local prep thing. And there's a guy named Dimitri who works at the movie theater. He went to school with us, and he was talking about how it's super cool that they're doing this, and it was local here. But it was broadcasted all over the place, and it was great. Honestly, I didn't see the full movie because I only just found out about it when I was researching into you. But we watched the trailer; it looked pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You want to talk about that for a bit?
yeah.
What was that like?
So that was first. It was definitely one of the coolest experiences of my life because there's two sides of it. There's knowing that I'm in the movie, which didn't happen till after, and then there's the creation process. Now I got on set. You know how I told you, like I'm actually a nervous person.
Yeah.
Mhm.
People would have thought I was mute, bro. Like I didn't know how to talk. Like I'm around all the, these other actors
Yeah.
and people who have like, they've done this, they've done that. Most of the crew is from either Los Angeles or
Oh,
like,
wow.
a lot of people
shit.
traveled to Los Angeles or the city, like,
Okay.
of course we filmed it at a local place in Oneonta, but I was struggling to like be myself and try to connect with everyone on set. Cause it's like it felt like I was just in like this sea of sharks, veterans at what they're doing. And I'm just this dude who I'm like, this was my first ever, it was my first movie role. I was an extra in something else. This was my first movie role, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just felt so undeserving to be there. Of course, I put in an audition tape, and they cast me for a character. So I'm trying to remind myself, I'm like, hey, you should be doing this. But so I continued to be nervous until we shot the second scene. Now, to anyone who has seen the movie, there's like a scene where me and two other dudes like roll up into a car, and it's basically before things get real, before things start to go down, basically.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there, and that was the time when I was able to relax myself enough to actually just be a human being and actually act. And that was like this golden moment for me to like be, it incorporated everything that I do, but it also incorporated this skill of being able to do the thing of drawing from that place of inspiration, because that's what you're doing when you're playing a character. You don't put on a front because people know that, So anyway, after I did that scene, the filming became so much easier, and I actually had such a good time, bro. And on actually the last scene of my own character, right before I'm on like a dock, and I actually almost fell I fell off the dock almost into the lake. On set, but the director caught me, and it was because like I saw a spider. It's surreal, bro. It's surreal. Yeah, I did not like spiders, and it was like, and I was waiting for the Popeye dude to come over, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that freaked out. But anyway, and he caught me. It's just like this cold day, and it was like it made my body so uncomfortable, but it was like it brought out a good performance. So then flash forward to when the movie finally, like. It actually went viral instantly once the first
Oh
clip
yeah,
went out.
it did very well.
yeah.
Like we were looking at the trailer earlier, 500,000 fucking. It was crazy. Like it was nuts.
I mean, it was posted everywhere, and I was like, oof. And actually, some people were hitting me up in my DMs, and they said, yo, like someone from Rochester said, bro, now this movie's gonna be in theaters here. They're like, and I didn't even know because the list extended after they gave us a list of theaters that extended. But anyway, so being able to sit in the theater and watch that was a moment where I get to hear other people in the theater reacting to it, and like some family and friends came to different times that it was playing, and I was just like, what is this? Like, I was just this young kid at one point. I said, oh, I want to do this entertainment thing, and I had every reason to believe I was just gonna try it and nothing was gonna happen. And I'm like, I'm on that screen, and sure, that's not everything, but it reminded me like, oh, if we keep trying, you'll find opportunity in the weirdest places, like Oneonta.
Yeah.
Like, it's-
Yeah.
That honestly, I thought that was crazy. Like I found that out. That must have been such a surreal experience for you. Like to be sitting in a movie theater and you're watching a movie that you were in. Like that's nuts. I'm sure that was great.
Man, yeah, that was so great. And like I remember there was a night where my girl and her mom came to watch the movie with me. And like once we finished, two people came up to me because they said, yo, we're actually fans of your music. We love your song Planted. Like, can we take a picture with you? We saw you in the movie. That was a crazy surprise. And in the movie reviews, I saw a couple, hey, King Konye's in it. And that made me, because I'm like this small town rapper dude that I was like a little bit of love for the Konye Kingdom, man. I was like,
That's awesome.
It was cool. It was validation as an entertainer because like I do know that what I do is it's very different, which is cliche to say, but I do recognize that, I'm different than a lot of rappers. So sometimes like in my head, I don't have the validation of saying, oh, well, I know I'm a rapper because this and that are, either in my music or my videos or, like I guess I don't know. I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
No, you have an extremely unique, I guess, the way your music's produced and the way you sound and everything you're doing is very indifferent to a lot of rappers or any type of music that you're seeing. And you have a very, honestly, it's something I haven't really seen a lot of because you're very fast. Like you're quick. You're a quick rapper. You're very quick. But you can also like really tone out and elongate and have a nice melody. And it's very impressive when you go into it like that.
Thank you I appreciate you for saying that. And yeah, man, my music styles that I listened to when I was growing up were, I liked rap, but I loved rock music. I was a guitarist before I was ever a rapper.
You had a band, right?
Yeah. I had a band, bro.
Yeah.
We was performing. I'm not even gonna hold you, bro. They actually booted me from the band because I missed a gig when I was traveling to France. But you know what though? Here's the thing. I was in a band, and my brother was actually in the band too. He's playing bass. I was playing guitar. I would pretty much write things on guitar, and then I'd show him, and the drummer would put it all together, and we practice at like a certain location because his dad was a pastor, so they had a church that we could practice at, so we had sound like that could actually be mixed that we could practice with. It was so dope. And I remember people around my school would tell me, like, or at least one person told me this, but they said you don't say much, but the guitar is your voice. And it's funny how these things stick with you years later. But she said your guitar is your voice, and I was like, I guess music is kind of a way that I express myself. But like, I could not speak on a microphone. So there was actually a gig that we did on New Year's Eve, and we were all gonna announce which song we were doing, and there was originals, but I was gonna go up and announce like kind of the song, and I turned around and I just shook my head no. Like I can't get up there. I can't say nothing, bro. And I went back. It was actually so awkward. It was so funny. I would actually pay to watch that back if I could. But
Speaking of awkward, that's I'm curious about the music video for that one because that was nuts. Like I like that one a lot. I saw that music video. I'm like, this is sweet. Okay, like when did that? And also, where were you?
Oh my gosh, beautiful question. So there's a junkyard in Davenport. It was really nice. Shout out to Mike's 23 Junkyard. He's also trying to sell it if anyone wants to buy a junkyard. Got
some free advertising.
I gotta hold it down. Bro.
Yeah,
he hosted us. So the song itself, I made it on a random day where I was actually just sitting down editing a video, and I was cold. But I was like, but I said my hands are cold, but I'm still kind of like gonna put on a t-shirt because I don't want to overheat. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is so awkward. If someone just saw this, a dude with gloves on and a t-shirt, and I was like, that's actually a good representation of my personality. So I literally went and started searching through beats, and I found that, and I was like, ooh, and the breakdown hit me so well. It was one of those songs because I don't physically write things down, I just punch in. It was one of those songs I just went over to the computer immediately, line after line. In fact, the first 3 lines were the first take immediately, like recorded. Like I kept them. It was like it was probably I did one take where I probably tested the vocal plugin, and then there was a take of me just trying, and that was the first line. I wear short sleeves with mittens on my hands, can't make up my mind. Yeah. My heart's warm and cold at the same time.
Okay, so that's what you were talking about there? Okay. Yeah. Also a question I was going to ask. I'm glad you answered that. Yeah.
That's so funny.
That's a good one.
So I started that, and I just went line by line, and like this song for me was a place of like breakthrough because I recognized, I was like, wait a minute, it's actually not a bad thing to be awkward. In fact, it's very human. If you're not awkward at certain times, I feel like you're suppressing the parts of yourself that make you different. Maybe that's just me because I am an awkward dude. But for real, I was like, I when I got to the chorus, I was like, I'm trying to let go of parts of my past, but also not leave myself. So I just had this breakthrough where I was like, I'm getting really sick of leaving myself behind. And then that moment, I remember just sitting there, and I was in the headphones, and I was just dancing, and I was so happy about the song. And then I showed it to Dylan on a random day. We were actually at the foothills doing something with the mayor, and I said, bro, if there's a junkyard, we should like just have a video in this, like a video for this song there. And I played it for him. He said, yo, I see that. And we looked it up. We couldn't find a single junkyard, ironically enough.
Wow.
And we were like, oh, the video idea was going to die there. But there's this dude, Jay Goldman, who worked in entertainment throughout his life too in New York City, and he lived out in LA and stuff. He said, oh, so a junkyard you mentioned. He said, I'm going to go scout out for you. This man got somewhere close to 4 or 5 different junkyards, some of them 40 minutes away from here, within the next day. He said, hey,
Holy
I
shit.
found a place for you. He said, come here. He said, let's go visit this. And as soon as I got there, I took video and I said, Dylan, look. And he's like, well, I'll be down, bro.
Yeah,
So we was hype, bro. And the way Dylan and my videos are filmed, we really try to respect the actual fun of creativity. Like when things start to get really complicated, it not only affects like my performance, but it really does affect the art sometimes. Now it is good to have really big shoots,
Yeah.
very coordinated. That is that's something else. But we try to really pick a day, pick a moment, and say, all right, let's represent like this here at this time. And we thought when we shot, we were like, all right, we probably didn't get anything. The sun was going down. It was one of the only videos that him and I shot where we left a little defeated. We were like, oh well. So we started planning what's another shoot date and everything. That same night, he said, I think we got some. And he said, and the next day, he showed me an edit that he had all the way through the video. It wasn't fully done, but he already had like all the way through edited. And we freaked out, dapped each other up, and we were like, we're 4 for 4 right now.
Damn. Well, honestly, I really liked that music video, and I thought it was great. But another one that I also really liked, and I have a question about this as well, was pruning season. Was that tree actually falling there,
yeah.
or was that edited? Tell me what's going on there. I need to know.
Those are real trees falling.
Those
in
are
the
real
field.
trees falling.
Real trees.
Wow, in real time.
A man
That's
named
crazy.
A man named Hardin Williams actually allowed us to go on his property, and he said, hey, I'll cut down some trees. And I didn't realize. I thought it was going to be his backyard, bro. He just had it. He had a lot of trees. So he said, all right, man. He started climbing, and Dylan was trying to frame it up because he's like, I know I only have so many chances to get this right. He's like, these are pretty tall trees. I don't want to mess this up. He says, so like, where should I expect this to fall? And then Hardin was like, that way. He was like, and then we were like, what? That was the information that we were given. And I said, Dylan, all right, we'll give it a shot. Tell me how we were so hype. How like the shots with the tree ended up coming, and the tree would
It was
drop in
perfect,
frame.
man.
It looked
Perfect.
edited. It was.
It was so good. I was like, there's no way they got it like that. Like I was like, who did they get to cut this tree? Like we're watching the video. We're like reviewing game tape here. We're like, all right, what is going on? Like, how did he do that? So that was a video I really enjoyed. I liked Awkward though too. Honestly, all your music videos that I've seen have been really great so far as well.
Thank you for saying that. And it really comes down to the fact that there's some things, like I'm gonna use the tree thing for example. Like it was a far-fetched idea that I had. I was like, anyone who has a brain would probably tell me that's probably not going to work. The ideal moment of getting all that in frame or whatever, and they would have been right. But I'm someone who says, hey, well, I like to give things a shot because I'm willing to try to fail. So on the literal, I cannot make this up. On the same day that I was listening to Pruning Season, a song that I'd recently made, and thought, well, it would be dope to cut down trees in the video. So I was like, well, who's like either a lumberjack or someone that I know? I ended up filming something with a dude at a gym, and he started telling me about a dude who he used to work with that actually cuts down trees. That same day, I was like,
No
all right.
way.
I said, if we got this far, then the trees are gonna be in the video. Then I was like,
Yeah.
that'll happen. And then anyway, yeah, it came about. So I'm happy about those things. And Dylan's willing to work with me, even though I have far-fetched ideas.
Yeah.
He says, all right, man, we're gonna see what happens. And
Yeah.
as someone who runs camera too, like me as a filmer, I know the complications, all the amounts of things. That sword is dope.
Well, thank
By
you.
the
That's
way,
kind of our whole thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how we handle it. around here.
Yeah. That's
That's
yep.
crazy.
Thank you.
But yeah, like he still was willing to give it a try, even if we put in all that effort, because I know all the things that could have gone wrong.
Yeah.
And it didn't go wrong. So.
No, honestly, it looked great. And you had this one cut where the cut was literally an axe like slamming down into the thing, and I was like, wow, the cut's actually a cut. Like that's crazy. It was very good.
Cut,
Very
you
good.
get cut.
Super good video.
That was a heavy axe too. I was like, yo, I looked at the man Harden. I said, bro, you actually make this look so easy. Like, first, like I'm here, this dude like with the axe. The axe was so heavy, and I was like doing multiple takes. I'm like, all right, bro. I'm like, I don't know how many I got in me, bro. I'm not going to.
Yeah, you got it right. Like, I'm done, man. You got it right. You know?
Chopping firewood over here.
Visuals are important to me with music because I think that the imagination aspect of listening to a song is like, it like puts you in a visual trance.
Yeah.
So like the music video is just, the artist being able to share that side of themselves. However, sometimes if I really like a song and it holds a lot of importance to me in my life, I won't watch the music video because it will change this image that I had listening to the song originally.
Interesting. That
That's-
makes sense though.
Yeah.
Because, but do you try to like direct your music videos to, fit that, that image that you do have of it so you can watch it if it's a really important song, you know what I mean?
So that's actually the reason that I started wanting to shoot videos with less storyline. Like there's a couple that I did with, storyline type of videos.
Yeah.
But I wanted to keep them more open to being a main color in location that represents the emotion because I find that keeping it like, giving the vibe per se, rather than giving people what to think about, what to envision, and what to believe that the song is, like interrupts that creative cloud that art builds. I always say art is like this. If you have a piece of paper, you draw a line corner to corner, point A to point B. This line is like the thought or emotion that you're communicating. Your goal as an artist is to build this cloud around this line. But once you hit the line and remind people that you're trying to say something to them, it kills the imagination. It really does. It's like someone saying, this song is too long or something. It's like, bro, what? It's like I was actually feeling what you were saying. Then you said this song, and all of a sudden it's someone trying to make something for me. But yeah, so anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to keep it open with the music videos for
Yeah.
that reason.
Leave
Honestly,
it up to interpretation. Yeah. Yeah.
That's really good. You also have Billboard, which I thought was super interesting. I was like, I really like that. It's so simple. Like, it's so perfect for the song and what it is. Like, that's amazing. Just you on the billboard. I'm like, okay, this is great.
So we have the music video to that song was filmed right on Main Street. It was literally, we shot it because Dylan wanted to test a new setting with his Ronin.
Yeah. Oh,
That
really?
video, yes.
That's interesting.
He said, "Hey Konye, do you have a song that you know the lyrics to that you would be down to shoot today with?" And I was like, "Yes." So he brought me down to Main Street. We waited till it stopped raining, and that was just 8 takes. Literally, all
really?
it was, 8. Because I had already performed the song, so we like to to make things easier. I like to have a tight performance that he doesn't have to reshoot the same shot over and over again because that's when things just get.
Yeah.
He said, nope. He said, we're going to get the Ronin and start rolling. Like, we just walk with the camera. Then 8 takes later, that same thing. The next day, he said, Konye. And he gives me a certain look. He's behind his computer. I said, bro, let me see it. Let me see the data, bro. And he killed it. But yeah.
That's awesome. Have you ever had to cull anything? Like maybe you do a video and you're like, we just have to change everything. We need a new location. We need to everything, or something has to change. Has that ever happened?
It actually did happen at first with Awkward. The day that we
really?
shot Awkward was actually our second try. We tried to, we wanted to shoot it in the rain because I thought the discomfort would represent the video really well.
Yeah.
Bro, shooting in a junkyard with the rain it proved itself to be more than we could chew on. And I like to jump onto the cars and stuff. I was slipping on this rusty equipment. The raindrops would get on the lens, and then all of a sudden you see a drop on the lens, and it disrupted the footage, and the camera would catch focus to the raindrop. And a couple takes in, Dylan was like, I think we might actually just have to bring it back to the drawing board. And I was like, but
man.
I'm happy we did, though, because the sunset was way better.
Oh, it came out great. I really enjoyed that video. That's one of my favorites for sure.
Last question here, just to put that out there. Personally, my favorite song is Chemistry. I'm not sure about Aiden's song, but I want to know what your favorite song out of your whole catalog actually is.
Wow. I have a direct answer to this question.
Oh.
My favorite song that I've made is Planted.
Oh.
Now, I love all my songs for a different reason. I'm not saying that the song's better than the other ones, but the reason why this is my favorite song is because I made that song about being told not to pursue music in Oneonta and not to move here. And there was a day where I was actually staying at Hartwick over the summer, and I was recording in the studio. I went to the studio early morning, and this woman who cleans up the studio, she was like, "Hey, I saw you in this magazine," and she was telling me, "Oh, I've seen you over the years, making it so much farther, and your parents are gonna be proud of you and all these things." And I got so encouraged. And that was a beat that a dude had sent me. It was a custom beat. I didn't know I was gonna use it, but randomly I was like, I need something happy today. I clicked on that beat. Instantly, it was similar to Awkward, where I just immediately started punching in. I started singing the first line. That's how I was grow. And
I like that punch in. Like this
Oh,
is
yeah,
your
you
job.
do that. You do
Punching
that
in.
super well.
Yeah.
My favorite song I really like is 18. That's a really good song, and I really enjoyed that. And I like a lot of the lyrics. Honestly, you seem to have, like, every song, at least that I've listened to, seems to have a purpose or like something you're trying to convey, like a message or a vibe or even just like that, even or an emotion or something like that. And that's something that I really look for in music. Like, I'm not the guy that can just listen to whatever on the way to work. You know, I'm trying to convey whatever type of vibe or mood that I'm in. That's what I want to hear. Like, I don't want to hear a sad song if I'm, like, you know, in a super happy mood. Like, I want to hear an upbeat song, or I want to hear this or that or whatever, depending on how I'm feeling and what's going on.
I think doing that is so overlooked by some rappers. I think it's so important in pretty much every genre of music. That's like how people start out making the songs. They try to make it with a certain vibe, but this is my opinion. When rap became so easily accessible to where you could just find a random beat online and say whatever, and then you can put it out now. You know, sometimes it's easy to just, you know, say whatever you said that day, and there's nothing wrong with it. Some songs are more freestyle, like that's cool. But I do find that when a song is an experience, like, you know, it's a select experience for a certain time, like, you know, in the morning, or like, you know, a breakup song, whatever. Like, it has more value, and, you know, it's like you sharing a thought a little bit more. So
Yeah.
thank you for saying that and recognizing
It's just
that.
more genuine. Like, you know, this is something he's trying to convey, this is an emotion he's trying to make you feel, or whatever, or an emotion you're feeling, and you're just projecting it out. But it's just nice to know, like, okay, this is real. Like, this isn't something he's like, damn, I got to get a song out this month, or I'm going to lose whatever. Like, whatever,
King
some
Konye,
type
he's
of
a
deal.
he's a
Yeah,
he's a
man.
genuine guy here, honestly.
It's very honestly, and you don't see a lot of that. You really don't. Like, a lot of rappers will fall into this, like, almost rhythm or system of just releasing whatever they have to try to top a chart, or try to do this or try to do that, or whatever they're trying to do.
I made it actually a goal of myself that I will never just put out a song or a body of work just for the sake of trying to increase his career. Because I'm like, I would rather that the career stays smaller but still has its direction and its purpose, rather than to just, you know, make it bigger off of just trying to fit all these random different needs. Like, of course I change, I adapt, that's cool, I adapt for the fans, that's great. But it's, you know, I'm not gonna just put out just so I can put out.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah. Whoa.
Hey,
Hold
yo.
on.
We can't take that in the wrong.
Hey, yo.
Joey, don't clip that. Cut that out.
We won't clip that one.
You know, I have to give a notice. There is actually the first Oneonta Hip Hop Festival ever on October 18th.
Wow. Oh.
I'm going to be performing at it. I will say, I don't know. I actually, you know, the track list or the set list just got released yesterday, where there's names that we would expect to see from Oneonta. Of course, MEB Records is going to be there. Max Wright is going to be there. We have Flowkey that's going to be there. And this is big to me because, like, similar to how people told me that, you know, there was going to be no being a rapper in Oneonta, I was told, like, word for word, they said, oh, this is a white town. There's going to be no rap. No one's going to receive it. There's rock music here. And I do see that. But I was like, hey, let's build something. This is like the evidence. And I'm not the only one building this. There's people that have these ideas, and we are building this foundation. So it's cool to see, like, the Community Arts Network incorporate this. Now, the show starts at, what is it? I think 2:30 or something. And I'm not going to quote myself on that. But I will say all the information is on social media. But the important thing that I want people to let people, that I want to let people know, is that I do my live freestyles. I'm sure I will probably not be the only rapper that is freestyling live at this show. If you rap maybe you're a college student, maybe you live locally in the town, whatever. You have to show up to this event. Show some love for hip hop and maybe get on stage and rap, at least during my set if you can. So I'm going to be on at 4:30. It's the Oneonta Hip Hop Show. It's going to be dope.
All right, I've got
October
one last,
18th.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
October 8th.
Yep.
October 18th.
Show out. All right.
October 18th.
We've got one last question for you. We're going to wrap this up here. When I reached out to you and I sent you the link to our stuff, what did you see and what like that made you decide, you know what, I am going to go on these guys' podcasts, even though we're a smaller podcast. Obviously, we don't have a lot of subscribers or motion yet, but you know, we're trying. So what made you decide to come on?
The first thing I noticed, the first thing after the fact that there was an email, when I clicked, I noticed that the camera was, it looked like it could have been a cell phone camera. I'm not this never was, but what I saw was people who were willing to make something with what they had. That is, I'm all about that. And I think everyone who like paves a lane in something knows what that looks like. I was like, these dudes probably have a message. And where I was at the time, I was at a film festival, so I couldn't listen and tune in until I actually got home. And it was days later that I then went and watched through some of the episode. And I was like, oh, these dudes are actually like, they're speaking. Because I wouldn't, if I was just, and sometimes it'll be like this. I get it. It's entertainment. Sometimes people just be like, oh, well, you have this accolade and you have that accolade and you have that accolade. And then that's just like the nature of the show. And it's like, that's cool. But I heard y'all actually have conversation, and I assumed that y'all had to be homies or brothers or something like that, because I heard that dynamic. I was like, all right, that's the place for me.
We get that a lot.
We come a long way from the sheet on the wall,
Yeah,
and we had this sword on every single one of our
But we've-
episodes. We tried
yeah.
to, at least, if we could
Yeah.
fit it in there. But you know, we really appreciate you coming out here, and you know,
Honestly, super grateful and happy that you were able to make it on.
shout out to the Hip Hop Festival on October 18th. Where is it? Oneonta where?
Oh, it's gonna be at Kano, Community Arts Network of Oneonta. It will be at Kano.
Kano. And you can find King Konye in the description below. Check us out and our other episodes. Check him out. He's a cool guy. He's genuine. And I want to say he handles it. He handles it well. Peace.
Peace.